Hey there, Blazer fans. Welcome to our first edition of Blazer Insider. My name's Mark Ingram. I'm the Director of Athletics, and today joining me is our head women's golf coach, Ryan Ashburn, along with her dog Dash. Also got Jimmy Kolaitis, head softball coach, and Kurt Thomas, head coach for women's track and field. Hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for being a part of this. It's going to be a lot of fun. Just wanted to give our fans an opportunity to hear from you about what's going on in the program and what you've been doing. But I want to start by letting you share with everybody, where were you when the seasons got canceled? And I remember, I'm going to start with Jimmy with softball. As I recall, Jimmy, I was in Dallas, Texas at the men's and women's basketball tournament, and you were on an airplane headed to El Paso with the team for a softball game. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was that Thursday, and we were headed. We left at about 5:30 in the morning, headed to El Paso. Got in 8:30, 9 o'clock. Stopped, got the team something to eat, and then we were off to the field. We were going to have an early morning practice. And then go back to our rooms and relax for a little bit. And we were literally rolling our stuff down to the field when we first got the call. And I kind of told my staff to go get the team ready. And I headed over to the head coach at UTEP's office and had the conversation, and then kind of waited for a second phone call to confirm everything.
How did you share that news with the team? How did that go?
Well, we went down there. I went down to the field. We just had gotten done stretching, and told the team the news. And an immediate reaction from the seniors were pretty emotional, and nothing that you never really ever want to tell your ball club. And so, the team kind of rallied around each other, and we kind of let them take a few minutes, few breaths to kind of relax. And, we kind of had an idea that this may be it. We didn't know at the time if it was going to end the season or not, but we had a pretty good idea of that's kind of where we were going. And we asked the team, we can have one final practice as a club. Or if we didn't feel up to it, we can head back to the hotel and relax and go get a good dinner. And they wanted to practice one last time. And so we did. We had a fun practice, a great practice, a lot of energy. The air is light. The ball flies out of UTEP Stadium, so kids hitting balls in the parking lot. We let them loose a little bit. So, we turned that positive, that negative into a pretty fun day.
That's great. That's great. Well, if I remember, how long did it take you to get back home? Did you come back the next day, or when did you come back?
Well, we took them to a really nice restaurant that night. I figured, we budgeted a full weekend of food, so we took them to go get steaks that night. And that was Thursday. So Friday night, we were able to get them home.
Okay.
We were planning on taking a few days, but we were able to get some flights, and the airlines worked with us. Southwest is always easy to work with. And our operations, Kristen Clark, did a great job of getting some flights that next day and getting them home.
Yeah, I got it. How about you, Kurt? What was the reaction from your team? Where were you guys?
So, we had finished our indoor season a few weeks earlier, but we're in preparations for the outdoor season. And we were preparing to host a high school meet the following week. And then immediately after that, our first ever on-campus track and field meet, college meet. And so we were just practicing and trying to get ready for the start of our outdoor season.
Yeah.
Same thing. We had, we followed the news, and we kind of knew that maybe some alterations may have to happen with the high school meet, and maybe we have to postpone or cancel. And so we were kind of preparing for anything. I don't think you ever can prepare for a full cancellation.
Yeah.
And so we had some news that we were probably going to have to cancel the high school meet on Thursday. On Thursday, we got the news that we were going to probably have to cancel the high school meet the following week. But I told my staff, just to kind of keep practicing as normal. We didn't want to alarm the girls and tell them information that we didn't have yet or that we couldn't confirm. And so we sat them all down Thursday afternoon after the practice and just said, just be prepared for anything. Like, we're still going to compete here soon and until told otherwise. And then the next day we were preparing to go out to practice when we got the final news that everything was going to be canceled. The spring sports seasons for Conference USA were going to be canceled. And so, but we hadn't really met with the team yet formally because they were all off at classes and getting ready to go to practice. So instead of having practice that day, we just had a large team meeting and broke the news that way, which is never easy. A lot of tears were shed. We all got emotional, including, myself and my staff, because you don't want to go out that way. And so, and of course we had to do a lot of breaking the news to teams that were supposed to come to our meets, the high school teams, the college teams. There were other teams that were supposed to go to other track meets that were calling us saying, can we come to yours unless yours is canceled? So a lot of kind of picking up the pieces. But of course, talking to the team was difficult, and we kind of let them have as much time as they needed to talk about things. Of course, some TikTok dances happened immediately afterwards, so at least they kind of walked away having some fun, but it was still tough.
Yeah, sure it was. What about you, Coach Ashburn? Kurt said something that that reminded me. This is the 7th week of our quarantine, but the information back around that time, when you go back to March the 12th through about the 15th, 16th, information was changing every few hours, really. And I remember talking to a lot of our coaches, and I'd say one thing in the morning, and by the afternoon I had different information, and then I had to recant what I had said. Hey, the rules have changed again, and then they changed again, and they changed again, which really made it difficult in terms of planning and all that. Talk about, where were you with your team, and were you guys out on the golf course, or what was going on?
Yeah, so I have to split my team into 2 groups. So I have 9 players. And so I had 4 or 5 girls out there, and we were just kind of going through some drills out on the golf course. And I got the phone call, go ahead and hold everything off. The following week was our spring break, and we co-hosted a tournament with South Alabama. So I'd kind of been on and off the phone with him to see if he had heard anything. We had to place a food order for all the teams and all this sort of stuff. And so it was hard we were trying to communicate, and we were just kind of waiting, I guess, on that final word to go ahead and do that. And so when I had those 4 or 5 girls, I just said, I'm just letting you know this is happening. It's not 100% sure, because at the time, like you said, we didn't know. So we kind of kept practicing. I had 5 other people in class, so I kind of gave them a heads up. I wish it was a more personable, in-person type deal, but I did what I had to do at the time. And over the next couple days that we could practice and kind of the unknowns, I think they were starting to realize, like, okay, now it's 1 week we're getting canceled, another event's getting canceled. And so we were on the driving range actually with Ping, and I had said, hey, I've got the final word. Our season has come to an end. I think, let's go ahead and go talk and all that sort of stuff. And one of my girls was by herself practicing, and she's the most emotional one on the team. And I said, I need someone to come with me. Olivia was actually out of town, so I was kind of like just a one-man show for the day. And so I took one of the girls, and she's not coming back. And so she was very emotional. And I think when she broke down, it kind of put things in perspective for me, like, this is it. And we're not going to be playing any more golf the rest of the year. And so again, you feel bad, and you kind of the coulda, woulda, shoulda type deal. We were having a pretty good season, but hopefully we get another chance. So they're excited for next year.
Yeah, sure. And all 3 of you are having great seasons, as a matter of fact. And just staying with you, Ryan, so talking about practice, what is your team doing? How frequently are you able to communicate with them? I know you have some players who are internationals. Talk about, what everybody's doing right now.
Yeah, so most of my students are either from Alabama, or my internationals have actually stayed here because two of them were seniors and they were graduating. So they were kind of waiting for that. And with the whole visas and whatnot, and trying to figure out if they can even leave the country. And so they're actually still here. And with our sport, golf, all the golf courses are open. And so some of them have just been going to pass time by playing or practicing and stuff like that out at our facility at Greystone. I mean, they just go whenever they want. But we normally were doing 2 Zoom calls a week. Obviously, this week and the past week we weren't able to do that. But they have a big group message going, and they'll send funny stuff, and thankfully I'm in it, so it kind of brightens my day as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we communicate. I talk to them. Some call me just to say, hey, I'm bored, like I need someone to talk to, type deal.
Yeah.
With being such a small team, sometimes I think we get that. But it's been good. I mean, I think my team is in the best spirits as honestly they possibly could be. Most of them have family, brothers and sisters that they're kind of all around, so no one's really by themselves, which is nice. And so that kind of eases my mind a little bit.
Yeah, that's great. Well, it is fortunate that the golf courses are open, as you said. At least you can go and continue to improve your game and practice and get outside. And here in Alabama, at least, we've had great weather for the most part, considering 7 weeks, and really just a few days feels like that we've had any rain. So that's great that they've been able to do that. What about you, Kurt? Coming back to you on practice and communication with the team, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, we've stayed in constant contact with the team. We have 3 different training groups. The distance group trains with Coach Eshe, the distance coach, and the field event crew trains with Coach Jordan Andreessen, and then I have the sprinters and hurdlers. And so we each have Zoom meetings each week with our training groups, and we send out group messages constantly. And of course, there's a lot of individual text messages because we have 40 plus girls on our team. So there's always an individual that you need to kind of check in on and make sure things are okay if they have some personal things. So we've been just staying in contact with them that way. They've been doing a good job of responding back and being on all the Zoom calls, and they seem like they're kind of doing what they're supposed to do. Practice is very weird for us because our distance athletes are able to kind of go out and go for runs whenever they really need to and kind of get some workouts in. But if you're a sprinter or a long jumper or a hurdler, every track in the state that I'm aware of is closed. And of course, and so you can't spike up and run on the road. So we try to alter our workouts to try to fit any environment. Some girls have access to parks, but we're not able to really do the specific things that we would normally want to be doing. And so really our focus has been just staying fit, staying active, because it's difficult to try to do a triple jumper can't triple jump in the middle of the street. It's just dangerous. The pole vaulter clearly can't pole vault in the middle of the street. So we've been just trying to stay fit and active, and really just focusing on their academics. That's kind of been the most important thing. Every girl has gone home to different situations. Some are having to take care of other family members.
Mm-hmm.
We only have a few girls that are really by themselves. I have an international girl that's here. She has a roommate, but she's not with her family. All of our other international girls were able to make it home. So they're there with their families. And so, and we're just checking in on everybody, making sure everyone's okay. Everyone seems to be in good spirits. It's just trying to get through this, the academic semester and just start planning for next year.
Yeah, for sure. And, from what I hear so far from the academic staff, we may have our best academic semester as a department ever. So, sounds like all of our student athletes really have taken to the online learning really well, and I think it's a credit to that academic staff and the other people who work with them to make sure that they're accommodated and able to use everything. So that's good to hear, because that's what I'm hearing from the other teams as well. Jimmy, talk about your team. What are they doing right now? Similar to Kurt, I know that it's not easy. You can't just play softball anywhere. I guess you can throw and and if maybe you've got a cage or can find a cage. But what are your players doing?
Yeah, we have our challenges as well, but before they left, we gave them a development plan of an idea of how to improve in all areas.
Okay.
Morgan gives them their workouts, stuff they can do at home, body weight stuff, running stuff. And if they have an option to find a gym or go to a gym or know somebody that has some equipment, that they're able to do that. Technique stuff. Some have cages in their backyards. They're able to find some indoor facilities. The defensive stuff's been a little bit more challenging. I know some of our pitchers, they'll post some things online of them working out at home. They got mom and dad, catching them up. So they're able to get a little bit of work, but same thing, just making sure they're staying fit mentally and physically. We do our Zoom meetings. We check in with them, group text and individual text. My whole staff does. And my assistant staff's done a great job as well. I've kind of given them, they've kind of taken the task of putting together once a week. We call Sunday Championship Sunday. So what we've done every Sunday is we do IQ tests. And so allow them to compete within the team of answering questions. And he's come up with, 100 questions of just situations in the game that, we get back and we find out how much they understand, how much they don't. So just kind of getting the mind and understanding how to play the game. So Joe and Courtney have done a great job with that. And then we have, we worked with the program last fall and through the year. And we have, Zoom meetings with Sam, who's our guy. And, girls love that. They really, really enjoy spending time and listening to him chat a little bit. So we try to do something different instead of just doing a Zoom meeting on, hey, how you doing? We try to include something where we can learn and grow from. So that's kind of where we've been.
Yeah, that's terrific. I wonder how many of your pitchers have broken their dad's thumbs over the last 6 weeks.
Or mom's thumbs.
Mom's thumbs, yeah, right. No kidding. Well, switching off of your teams for a little bit and just talking about you and what you're doing, I know that in the last 7 weeks, I think I've done more projects in my yard than I have in the last 5 years, probably. Maybe that's just to relieve my wife and kids from seeing me, pinned in my bedroom like I am right now, doing a Zoom call. Maybe it's for my own personal sanity. I don't know. But what have you guys been doing? Ryan, I'll come back to you. What have you been doing to keep busy yourself, and what's been going on there at the house?
I think I've hit every room in my house as far as going through paperwork, rearranging furniture, getting rid of everything, cleaning everything. Even the garage. I mean, I've just
even the garage. Nice.
Even the garage. Now it's just like, now I think I'm going to move to the outside stuff because I've run out of things to do inside. That's kind of like personally what I've been doing just to try to keep myself busy. But our Women's College Golf Association, they've actually been holding webinars and having some meetings for us, which has been really nice. So every Tuesday afternoon, either another coach or a group of coaches, or they bring in a special guest that comes in and speaks to us for an hour. And then they do the same thing on Friday, but it's more of like a Instagram Live, a little bit more informal. But they've been trying to keep us in the loop, having speakers come in, other coaches kind of doing the same thing, coaches with kids, how they're processing all through this and now becoming homeschool teachers. And so I've been trying to stick to a schedule, and in the morning I work until a certain point, and then I do something else until a certain point. Going on lots of walks with Dash, and he'll probably be in the best shape ever. But I mean, literally, I tried to not sit on the couch until like 7 o'clock, so because otherwise I'll sit there all day. But yeah, projects. It's a great thing.
Yeah, it would be easy to do. And what about Netflix? Have you caught anything that you've watched? Have you watched every episode of Tiger King or not?
So I haven't gotten into Tiger King. I'm a big like Blue Blood, Chicago PD type thing. I found out there's like 7 seasons of Chicago PD, which I've gone through. So I need to find another episode. Yeah, I mean, I try to limit myself at night because then when I have to get up in the morning, I'm like, well, I really don't need to get up, but I really do need to get up. So
Yeah.
we have to put limits on those things.
Yeah, you got to find purpose for the day. And coming back to talking to our student athletes and to the webinars you're talking about, you're right. You got to be very careful not to stay up really late, binge watching some show or movie that you love. It just makes it harder to get up in the morning. And if there's not a lot going on during the day, you kind of find yourself thinking, well, gee, I don't have to get up yet because, what am I getting up for? So you've got to maintain that purpose, don't you?
Yep, 100%.
How about you, Kurt? I know you've got the kids running around and your wife. What have you guys been doing?
Yeah, I've become a second and fourth grade teacher, and I realized early on that I was not. There's probably a reason I'm not really a second and fourth grade teacher, yeah, just helping the kids with their homework and stuff like that, and kind of getting them going. The first couple of weeks, we built a new outdoor patio. We painted the inside of a room, and same thing. My yard looks pretty decent right now compared to normal because we're gone every weekend for a couple months anyway. So we've done some projects like that, and I like getting out in the yard anyway. But I'm glad Ryan brought that up because about kind of collaborating with other coaches. We've had a couple of coaches just take it upon themselves in the NCAA, and they started a coaches group on Facebook that has absolutely exploded. It started out as just kind of some of their friends, and I think there's 2,500 members in the coaching community, high school, college, everything. And they have a very organized agenda a couple times a week, talking about triple jump, talking about distance, talking about weightlifting for distance runners. And then, so they have a couple of coaches come on and answer a lot of questions and talk, but there can be 150 coaches on there just listening on a Zoom call. And some of them last 2 hours. And so, I can't usually get on them when they're happening because I have helping my kids. But you can go back and watch them on Facebook and things like that. And so I think there's been a lot of self-growth with a lot of coaches in our world right now, just trying to keep learning and keep your mind engaged and things like that.
Yeah.
Keeping up with our kids' schoolwork has been a little overwhelming. I think I really understood what our athletes are going through because I feel like a lot of the professors that moved from an in-class class to an online class added a lot more work than normal. Yeah. And I think elementary and middle school teachers have done the same thing. And so all of a sudden I got a firsthand glimpse of what our student athletes are probably going through when everything moved online, because my kids got bombarded with extra work and we're having to get them through it. And so I was really starting to empathize with our student athletes and what they're dealing with, whenever we ask, hey, how are classes? Because they were probably a little more overwhelming at the beginning than we realized. But yeah, my yard looks good and we're enjoying the outdoor patio too.
Yeah, good. Well, good for you. You'll have plenty of splinters and your back aches in ways you had forgotten that it could, I guess.
Yeah.
What about you, Jimmy? What's been going on at the house?
I've been some days better than others, but been trying to stay in a routine. Try to get up at a decent hour, not sleep in. Try to get a quick workout in the morning. I don't have my Orange Theory that me and Ryan used to go to. Believe it or not, at 6 a.m. we go to Orange Theory. But so we bought one of those Peloton bikes. So we've been using that. And then through the day, I try to spend about an hour reading. Just kind of quiet and get after a book. And then the same thing that the other coaches were talking about, the coaching clinic stuff, the webinars online. I was actually on one. There's one going on all week, all day. I was on one this morning about the Savannah Bananas, the minor league team down in Savannah, about marketing and some of the crazy things they do. So try to get at least one or two of those a day, if not more. As I get in the afternoon, kind of start cutting back a little bit on top of what we do with our team, and doing a lot of cooking, a lot of dinner cooking for my wife. So, just try to get some relaxed time, try to get some learning time, and continue to prepare for everybody coming back. So, that's kind of where I've been at.
Yeah, for sure.
And Netflix.
And Netflix? Okay, well, what have you been watching, Jimmy? What's been your show?
So my wife and I are watching Westworld on the HBO.
Okay.
So we're in season 2 of that right now. And then what I watch on my own is I'm on the show Money Heist.
All
I've seen
right.
just about everything else. It's a really good show, but it's all in Spanish. So you got to read the bottom the whole time. So a little reading /
Or
watching.
get better at Spanish.
So, but I've really gotten into that. So
That's impressive. Well, there's your reading for the day. If you just watch
That's
one
it.
episode of that, that's
and learning a new language.
and learn a new language. That's right, all at the same time. That'd be great. Well, before we wrap up, Ryan, any advice for those at home or closing comments for everybody?
I mean, I'm just trying to stay as safe as possible. Went to the store this morning, and it's one of those things where I feel like a crazy person Lysoling everything that I bring in and bags and whatnot. But I'm trying so hard not to get the virus. And I know, like, as much as I want to go back to Florida to spend time with my family, I can't afford to do it just because of their situation, and I don't want them to get sick. And so I think it's just a matter of all patience and time. And I hope that we get back to some sort of normalcy here pretty soon. But yeah, I mean, just to try to stay safe. I mean, the cool thing that I have noticed is I never had any idea how many kids lived in my neighborhood until this whole thing hit. I mean, I think I have 20 kids on my street, and they're all riding bikes and doing the chalk stuff on the sidewalk. And it's actually pretty cool to see because that's how I grew up, and you don't really see that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I am very thankful and stuff to see that. And I've met more of my neighbors. David Crane lives down the street from me, but everybody just kind of knows me as like a UAB coach since I have the van. Sometimes parked in the house, they're like, oh, so what do you do? And so it's been nice. You get to meet some people that you never talked to before. But I am thankful for this time. I know that a lot of other people are too with their families and stuff. I know it wasn't, perfect for us in our season, and really neither of us. But I think as long as we kind of take advantage of it and come out on the other side, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. Kurt, how about you?
Yeah, I think
comments.
Yeah, I think staying safe has got to be the biggest thing. We're all worried about our student athletes. To my knowledge, no one on our team has gotten sick, or no one in their family has gotten sick, but there's always that worry. And, we all have family members, and our kids want to go see their friends, and we have to inform them to be patient, which means we have to kind of show that we are also patient and just kind of abiding by the rules and what our governments are telling us and stuff like that. And so, but I think Ryan was exactly right. Like, slowing down. We're all coaches. We're all in athletics. We have rarely slowed down.
Right.
And so I think we've tried to take advantage of it and just kind of enjoy the time. I guarantee you, Mark, you said something about how great a weather we've had. If none of this would have happened, we wouldn't have had this nice of weather. All of our track meets would have been rained out. Yeah. We'd have had lightning delays. We've had phenomenal weather. And so we've taken advantage of it and just kind of enjoyed being together. And we're just planning to get ready to bring the kids back for next year. Yeah. We have no hesitation to plan for next year and to act like everything's going to be normal, because we assume at some point it will come back as normal. Sure. And if it doesn't, we'll roll with the punches then. But we're planning like next year's going to happen, and just represent UAB.
Yeah, that's right. And we do plan on coming back. Great point. Our plan right now, 100%, is to be back in the fall as scheduled. So that's what we're doing across the board in the department. So that's a great point. Glad that you're thinking that way too. Jimmy, what about you? Any final thoughts or advice for anybody?
Yeah, I think just like the other coaches, we don't get a whole lot of downtime, and we do. And there's so much negativity going around on social media and what we're hearing and what people are talking about. My best message is there's a lot of positive out of it too. Mm-hmm. We get to spend more time with family. We get to do things that we haven't done. We get to, make sure our lawn's looking great. So we have all that going for us. We still have our health, and we're still staying safe, and so much positive out of it that we need to focus on that more than we do on the negative side. Yes, we need to stay healthy. Yes, we need to be smart in how we do things, but also, and we need to listen what everybody's saying out there. But at the same time, don't get caught up on. I don't even put the news on my TV. I don't want to hear what anybody's got to say. I don't want to hear any numbers because numbers are skewed. So it could make it look really bad or it could make it look really good. So don't believe everything you hear. Just focus on what you can focus on. Just like we tell our athletes all the time, control what you can control. And that's just kind of how we're living. That would be my message for everybody. Control what you can control, be safe, and stay positive, because there is a lot of positiveness out there that we're not looking at.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Jimmy. That's a great point. And yeah, you can only control your own actions at this point, and continuing to wash your hands and use hand sanitizer if you do go out and you have to go to the grocery store, being careful like you were talking about, Ryan. Those are all great points. And I know that I speak for everybody on today's Blazer Insider session when I say how much we appreciate all the frontline workers and people in our hospitals and all the healthcare professionals that are helping us to get rid of this thing. So we're really proud of the work that you do, and we're grateful for what you're doing. And we're all aimed back at getting back to normal too, and would encourage everybody to heed the advice of our healthcare professionals and stay inside or stay at home and continue to practice above and beyond excellent hygiene. That would be great. And as people give us the proper advice and direction, we'll follow it, but just continue to be very careful. So with all of that, I want to thank our guest today, which is Coach Ryan Ashburn / expert dog walker, and Kurt Thomas, our track coach, and now professional landscaper, and
That's
Jimmy
right.
Kolaitis, our softball coach and executive chef. So thank you guys for joining
I
us.
want to know some of those recipes, Jimmy. My
That's
wife
right.
and I cook a lot too. I
Exactly.
make my own bread. I've never made bread before. I want to know what you're cooking.
There you go. We'll have that on another session. We'll let Jimmy put on his chef's hat and go to work. So thanks again, everybody. And to all of our Blazer fans, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on our next edition of Blazer Insider. Have a great day.
See y'all. Go Blazers.
Bye.